I still remember the sound before anything else. Not the insult, not the shouting, the sound. A hard, plastic-on-metal crack that echoed through the cabin and made every head turn. That was my laptop hitting the aisle floor, and in that moment I knew my night was about to go somewhere I never planned for. Yeah, that happened. I was already exhausted before I even got on that flight. Long week, longer month, the kind where your body keeps moving, but your brain is begging you to shut it down for just a few hours. I boarded late on a purpose hoodie-up backpack worn thin, trying to look like someone nobody would bother. You know the type. Blend in, sit down, don't make eye contact, just get where you're going. I took my seat buckled in headphones on eyes closed. That's when I felt it, that presence, that energy that doesn't knock, doesn't ask, just assumes the world will move out of its way. Perfume. First, then the voice. Sharp, annoyed, too loud for the space. Excuse me. I didn't respond. I'd learned a long time ago that silence sometimes saves you energy. I know you can hear me. Tap, tap, tap on the side of my seat. I opened one eye and looked up. She was standing there like she owned the aisle. Perfect hair, perfect makeup, clothes that probably cost more than my rent. Her eyes scanned me, not really looking, more like dismissing. "You're in my seat," she said, flat and certain. No question mark. I checked the number above me, then my pass. Same one. I told her calmly, "I don't think so. This is my seat." That's when her face changed. Tightened. Like I'd broken some unspoken rule. "No," she said, "that seat is mine. I always sit here." I could feel the heat creeping up my neck, that familiar feeling, the one that comes from being challenged, not because you're wrong, but because you don't look right. Hoodie, sneakers, backpack instead of a briefcase. I told her again, still calm, "I'm not moving." She laughed. Not a funny laugh, a small, mean one. "People like you always try this," she said, lowering her voice. "Trying to sneak into places you don't belong." I stared at her, wondering how someone could say that out loud in 2025 and not even flinch. I asked her to step back. She didn't. The flight attendant came over, nervous smile eyes darting between us. She explained her version, fast-polished like she'd rehearsed it. I was aggressive. I was threatening. I was confused. When the attendant checked the manifest and confirmed my seat, I thought that would be it. I really did. Instead, it was like pouring gasoline on a fire. She raised her voice, accused me of lying, of stealing, of probably being in the wrong cabin altogether. People started watching. Phones came out. I stayed quiet because I knew something she didn't. Not about money, not about status, about patience. I'd been underestimated my entire life. In classrooms, in boardrooms, in meetings where people assumed I was the assistant, not the decision-maker. I'd learned when to speak and when to let someone dig their own hole. The captain showed up, took one look at both of us, hoodie versus pearls, and made his call. He didn't ask questions. He didn't listen. He told me I was causing a disturbance and needed to leave the aircraft. Economy. Later flight. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so predictable it almost hurt. I said no. That's when she lost control. She bent down, grabbed my backpack, and threw it into the aisle like it was trash. That sound again. The crack. The silence that followed was heavy, thick, like the whole cabin was holding its breath. I stood up slowly, picked up the bag, opened it, saw the damage. She waved her hand like it was nothing. "I'll pay for it," she said. "Just move." Something inside me snapped, but not in the way people expect. I didn't yell, I didn't curse. I straightened my shoulders, looked at the captain, and said, "Call your supervisor." He scoffed. Told me to put my phone away. I didn't. I made one call, 3 words. Clear, calm, initiate lockout. You could feel the shift before anyone understood it. The lights flickered. The engine hum changed. A jolt. Then the announcement that made every stomach drop. Delay. Technical issue. No departure. Phones started buzzing all at once. News alerts, stock alerts, messages flying. Her phone rang. She answered it loud, confident, until the voice on the other end changed. Panic. Fear. Her face drained of color as she stared at me like she was seeing a ghost. Security arrived, but not the kind she expected. Suits, badges, legal teams. The captain stepped back. Suddenly, nobody was touching me. Nobody was raising their voice. They escorted her off first, screaming, crying, demanding respect that had vanished the second she showed who she really was. I walked off that plane behind them, not because I had to, but because I wanted to see it through. In the holding room, the truth unraveled fast. Turns out, entitlement hides a lot of secrets. Fraud, smuggling, paper trails people think no one will ever look at. All triggered because someone couldn't accept being told no. By the time I walked back into the terminal, my phone buzzed. Messages from my team, from people who finally saw what I'd been dealing with quietly for years. The flight was reboarding with a new crew. Same seat, same plane, different energy. When I sat down again, nobody questioned it. Nobody stared. The flight attendant asked if I wanted water or wine. I chose water. I was tired. Not just physically. Tired of the assumptions. Tired of the way some people think the world owes them space and silence from everyone else. Here's the thing. This wasn't about a seat. It never is. It's about who we decide deserves comfort, dignity, and the benefit of the doubt. It's about how fast we judge and how slow we are to apologize. I didn't win because I had power. I won because I refused to shrink. So let me ask you this. If you were on that plane, who would you have believed? Who would you have defended? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me where you stand, and tell me if you've ever been underestimated, pushed aside, or told you didn't belong. Let's talk about it.